And then I want to do captions. It's always good to have captions. Captions English. Okay, so.
Yeah. Oh yeah, captions.
Okay, so.
Fantastic.
Yeah, there we go. We're here. We're ready. And it's so funny, man. I was like, why did we ever do this? Like, on
We
Zoom.
it was an idea before it was a
Yeah.
action.
Well, no, and I'm kind of glad we did it the way we did it, because then we kind of figured out how we work.
That's true. We got the
You're
timing.
more, yeah, you're more of the off the cuff person.
Yeah, well, I mean, I kind of have to be because you have a bigger wealth of knowledge to draw
whatever,
upon.
man.
I got a bachelor's. You're working on a PhD. There's a difference.
Yeah, but still, but no, but you know enough. I mean,
I know enough
more,
to conversate.
Yeah, well,
converse.
you know more than most people who don't. And so, welcome to Over the Fence with Matt and Ken. I'm Ken.
I'm Matt.
Yes, and so now we have this is like episode 8, but this is our first Zoom episode.
This
and
is the first episode of the New America.
We're gonna put it up on YouTube. We have a whole YouTube channel and everything, and so this way we can get our friends, families, and people who probably will hate us to watch us and yell at us for our opinions on politics, and just we kind of touch on a lot of things.
Yeah.
I think we touch it, but it's mostly politics. We really do. One thing I do want to do at some point is, one of my friends texted me and said, if Joe Biden had a Real Housewife of any city tagline, what would it be?
Dover.
You said it's over.
No, Dover.
Dover. Okay, what does that mean?
Because I don't know, it's the capital of Delaware. It's not.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, no, because I thought mine out, and I just thought it out in the last 5 minutes.
Hit it.
Because my friend says somebody put online, this guy, John Gibson, said his tagline would be, I revere this office, but I love my country more. And I said his tagline would be, you thought we were playing checkers, but I was playing chess. Checkmate. I thought that was pretty good. I just got that in the last 5 minutes. I was like, I should get a job helping people come up with the real spot taglines.
I didn't understand the assignment.
Yeah, no, that's fine. No,
I gotta watch more reality TV.
Well, I watch it at 4 a.m. when I'm busy typing up my paper.
And I should be looking at videos on how to upload podcasts.
No, you know what? I know, but now it's easier because we gonna just start a YouTube channel.
It's just happening.
Yes,
look out world.
Yeah, look out world, you and I. So anyway, we had taken a few weeks off because we're both like procrastinators.
Well, and also it had just gotten depressing, and we were getting. I was certainly getting doomerish, and I was just like, "It's over. It's fine."
Yeah,
but
no, you're right. No, dude, I know. For me, after that debate, and seeing on social media, my friend, like I have this one friend, Brandy, and I think it's okay to use it. Brandy, she's always positive. Brandy's like really, when Brandy said, I read her thing, she's like, we're in trouble. And right. Brandy, like, she loves Kamala Harris, she loves Joe Biden, she loves all that. But she was like, we're in trouble. And I was like, oh my God, we're in trouble. Because Brandy doesn't talk like that. She's usually positive. But I was like, oh, but man, the weeks that followed, my issue with the whole Biden thing, I agree. I know. What's your feelings on Joe Biden? Let's start there. I want to hear your feelings on Joe Biden first.
Now?
Yeah. No, just serious. No, prior to him leaving, what was your feelings on Joe Biden?
I was. He was better than Trump, and he's okay. Let me not damn him with faint praise. He was great on labor, and where I butted heads with his policies most often was foreign relations. I think his foreign policy was horrendous. I think that's a product of it. I won't go too far to just keep it broad, but like I think he was at an age and a state where I don't think any information from his advisory boards were kind of getting in, and he was just in like, Israel good, and there was just no room to move. And I don't back a president that has no room to move, especially one who purports to be such a unifier, and I'm going to talk to both sides, and I'm going to get Mitch McConnell to be a nice dude, and just a bunch of nonsense.
Well, yeah, I agree. I think I felt like he was a politician from the 70s, before the Reagan years, or even the Reagan years, they used to
Pre-Reagan years, progressive.
Woo! Yeah, yeah. But remember they say Ronald Reagan and Tip O'Neill used to be the Speaker of the House. He's from Massachusetts, and how at 5 o'clock they would butt heads all day, and they would go back and forth. But at 5 o'clock, Tip O'Neill would drive over to the White House and have a drink with Ronald Reagan, and then they would just become buddies. We don't have that type of discourse anymore. And Joe Biden, I felt like, was a politician from that era, because he really thought he's dealing with the Marjorie Taylor Greenes, the Lauren Boeberts.
It's a new breed.
Lauren Boebert, again, before she became a congresswoman, had just finished her GED. She only went to get her GED because she was running for Congress, and some lawyers running against her had brought up the fact she hadn't even graduated high school. And so, and there's nothing, and look, I'm not downing the people for that.
Yeah, I have a GED.
When you have people like her, but she was also in her 30s. She went a whole.
Well, I mean, she also got it just to have a credential.
Yeah, to get in Congress, but also the thing her and Marjorie Taylor Greene and other people in the Republican caucus who were MAGA people, how they talk to people and talk down to them and call them the name calling. It's like, you just barely graduated high school at 35. You're about to become a grandmother also at 35, and you're talking about somebody. You don't have room to talk. And I felt like he was trying to make things work with those type of people who were never going to work with him.
Yeah. And I think I just think he, however it wants to be judged, he wasn't able to meet that moment. There were a series of moments that were just like sequential that he was unable to meet. And it's like, at some point, that's enough.
Yeah, no, and I agree with you. And so I felt like, as far as that goes, I think you and I agreed on that. I didn't like the way we're Democrats in the party. And when I say Democrats,
you mean like AOCs and Ayanna Pressley,
no,
kind of squad type?
I'm going to get there.
All right,
I'm talking about Democrats. I'm talking about the Nancy Pelosi's, the Adam Schiff's, those who were pushing him out. They were going out to the media. One thing we got to give Republicans, a lot of their fights, they really don't take it to the media. A lot of things they keep in-house, and we don't really realize a lot of times that they're at odds until it gets so bad.
Until the blow up, yeah.
Yeah, until it's really, really bad. Democrats immediately,
they air their laundry all over.
Immediately, and they were pushing him out. And look, let me be clear again. I was never a Joe Biden fan. I voted for Joe Biden because I was a Kamala Harris fan, and
how's that paying off?
And the reason why I was no, and let me tell you why. Kamala Harris. I was a Kamala Harris fan, not because of her politics. I was a whistleblower that blew the whistle. I was one of the many whistleblowers, about 10 or 15 of us, who blew the whistle on ITT Technical Institute. She talks about she shut down a big college, it was ITT.
Right.
Look, the things ITT was doing, like they were, and I don't care if this gets out, the things that they were doing was criminal. They would recruit. First of all, they would like go to a halfway house where people who were getting out of prison and recruit them to do courses in IT. If you have a felony, as you know, you cannot get a job in IT.
I didn't know that, but I do now.
Yeah, no, yeah, you have a felony because there's people's it's privacy issues, and you have access to people's personal issues. So, and they would have these guys. These people would take out loans up to $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, $100,000.
Right.
And after they get the degree, they go look for a job. They find out they can't get a job.
Yeah. Which they could have gone to an actual college and had the same problem.
But they didn't. But they didn't know that though.
No, yeah.
And so if you don't know, and so that's what we got to be aware of. If you come from a family, especially first generation family, where education has not been a priority because you're just trying to survive, then you don't know. So then another thing that they would do is they would find first generation Latino male students. And they would love them if they were first generation getting out of prison. But if they weren't, they would get those people whose parents had never been to college before, doesn't speak English. So their parents come down and sign for a loan, not realizing what they were signing. And they were doing predatory recruitment.
Right.
And so
They
I
did it
was
at the
there.
VA hospitals too, I think.
Yeah, well, I
Or
saw them.
other ones. Yeah.
No, you're right, and
Yeah.
you're right. That's what they did.
They get
And
head
so
injury guys and like.
yeah,
So.
and also I saw them do these things. So I
Yeah.
went down to San Diego one day. I walked in this room. It was his attorney's office, and there was probably about 11 or 12 other people in that room. They were all from the San Diego area. They had blown the whistle on ITT. Well, I did too.
Yeah.
I also had a personal lawsuit against ITT at the same time because I was harassed on the job. So I was harassed on the job. So when I joined the class action and whistle blew on them, we reported to the Attorney General's office of California. Well, who's the Attorney General? It's Kamala Harris.
Right.
Well, she goes at them because there's proof. The woman who, because ITT actually had a blueprint like Project 2025. They had a blueprint.
I don't even know what that is.
Well, they had a blueprint for how they would prey on these people.
Yeah.
And the woman who wrote the blueprint turned on them, and she went before the United States Senate and they did a committee. They had a committee hearing, and she told on them. And then she did a press conference afterwards with the senators. So the writing was on the wall for ITT. And another thing they would do, ITT would base their stock prices on the number of students that would take the classes. And you know how FAFSA works, which is the federal government loaning students money. You have to sit in a seat to a certain day. And once you sit in that seat on that certain day, if you drop the next day, the loan money goes through. And so ITT would give them, so those students would get like a $300-400 check, and ITT would take the $18,000.
Right.
So when Kamala Harris shut ITT down for their predatory, crappy, and behavior, and remember Betsy DeVos
thievery
under Donald Trump, Betsy DeVos was trying to bring all that back.
That's where she made her money. Didn't she have a for-profit college?
Well, her family, they were wealthy, but her husband's family were billionaires. Like,
yeah,
she was rich, but her husband's family was richer.
But I thought she ran like, it doesn't matter.
No. Her family just came from a lot of money.
Okay.
They did do business in the for-profit, but she was involved because Donald Trump and Trump University, which was a fraud. But anyway, back to Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris would then, so as I have my personal lawsuit going on, Kamala Harris is getting ready to shut down ITT. My attorney, we were trying to settle. ITT would like push back a lot until Kamala Harris got involved. Yeah. When Kamala Harris got involved, they settled for me. They settled for me for more than what I was asking for. I told my attorney, I said, hey, he was an attorney out of Orange County, out of Santa Ana. He might be retired now, but no, he is retired. Yeah, I know he's retired because I was one of his last cases, he said. But he was an attorney out of Santa Ana. He was my disability doctor's brother.
Okay.
And I told him, I said, look, all I want is $50,000. He was like, if you want $50,000 to walk away with $50,000, you're gonna have to ask for $100,000. I was like, they're not gonna settle for $100,000. He said they will, he ended up getting the money. I had to pay back the state of the disability. I had to pay back because when you take disability and you get money, you get a settlement, the state will get their money back. And then I also had to pay my attorney. So I walked away around $48,000. And the next week, ITT goes out of business. And they're gone. So when Kamala Harris talks about that university, that for-profit university that was doing predatory behavior, she shut down. It was ITT taking the suit. So it was never her politics with me. It was the fact that she had our backs as Attorney General.
Well, yeah, you didn't need the politics. You had a personal anecdote of her of material help.
Yeah. So then when she ran with, so let's be clear, when Biden ran 4 years ago, I was not on the Biden train. I was not.
I don't think Biden had a train. There was a Trump train and the opposition to it, and it was Biden. Yeah, it was like that was your choice. Nobody was like,
no. But if you go back to the primaries, remember Pete Buttigieg won one state.
Yeah.
Bernie Sanders won the other state, and then they head to South Carolina. And remember, Joe Biden, his campaign was on dead on arrival. It was Jim Clyburn of South Carolina. I'm friends with his daughter. I'm friends with his daughter on Facebook. Jim Clyburn comes out, and we got to remember, at the time, Jim Clyburn's wife had just passed away. So he had a lot of people were feeling sympathy for him. His wife just passed. Jim Clyburn.
So Jim Clyburn carries a lot of weight.
Because he's a civil rights icon.
Yeah.
Because he's done a lot of civil rights in South Carolina.
Because he's Jim Clyburn.
Yeah. So Jim Clyburn comes out, endorses Biden, and Biden goes on to win South Carolina, goes through the South, pretty much like Sherman went through the South and burned it all down. Biden does too. Ends up winning the primary. Buttigieg steps out.
That's such a weird.
Yeah, I know.
Why is Biden like Sherman?
I know. I just wanted to put that out there.
I'm going to go to Savannah. I've been to Savannah. I did not feel like Sherman.
So Biden goes on and wins the nomination, and then he becomes the anti-Trump because everybody was tired of Donald Trump. I know I was tired of the tweets.
I mean, yeah, the tweets. That was
yeah.
No, yeah. So all Biden was to me was just not Trump. He was the guy that, and I wasn't a Bernie or bust guy, but I mean, my dog's name is Bernie. I was a fan.
Yeah.
You know, I thought.
But you were more Bernie than Biden.
I mean, that's an understatement. Yeah. Like, but you know, Biden got the job, and it was like, all right, so I'm here. Let's see how you do. And, you know, ups and downs. Like I said before, foreign policy, very far down. And I think he should be like I said, like there's two screens, and you could praise him, do it, but I'm not gonna. Thank you for
no, but I want to lay the groundwork because we're gonna get to all this.
Yeah.
Where we'll. So you get to the debates, and like I told you about my friend Brandy, Donald Trump just lies his way through the entire debate.
Donald Trump did what Donald Trump's going to do. The scorpion stung. That's what he did.
Yeah. No, you're right. And Joe Biden looked old and feeble and sick because he was sick that night. And
he was sick and old and feeble.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
He looked exactly like he was. And that's not a dig.
No.
That's a
that night he looked worse. No, that night I thought he looked a lot. I was like, oh my God. I knew he was old, but that night I was like, oh,
he did look especially decrepit. Like,
yeah. He said, you're horrible, dude.
I've been holding these.
you're horrible. So afterwards, Joe Biden, you know, he comes out and says, I'm sick and blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then you have him get COVID. But in the meantime, you have people in the Democratic Party, the Nancy Pelosi's and the Adam Schiffs and anybody else. I can't remember all their names.
I don't like them either. Like
they were trickling out, talking about pushing them out. And that's where I had the problem with.
Everybody was having their 90th birthday at the same time. So yeah, I mean, it was the trickling of time.
But no, it wasn't. But it wasn't all.
No, it wasn't all that. Of course,
it was more. It was more the moderate Democrats who had less melanin than the others in the caucus, because you didn't see people from the Congressional Black Caucus in fact, the Congressional Black Caucus and the Congressional Hispanic Caucus came out in full support of Biden. And then you would find out from AOC and Bernie Sanders and Jasmine Crockett last week, they were like, the reason why they weren't trying, I found out the reason why AOC and Bernie Sanders were trying to protect Biden, because they really kind of dragged Biden to the left on a lot of his policies.
Yeah.
So they were like,
as best they could. Well, he's the only person of options that we had.
Yeah.
That could be pulled to the left at all. You had one guy that was catapulting himself into wherever. Trump is insane. He's an insane fascist. So whatever. Yeah. But certainly you can't pull him to the left. Exactly. But Biden, you had a shot.
Yeah, no, and you're right. So, but also you weren't hearing things from Barack Obama. No. Barack Obama wasn't saying anything. You were hearing whispers in the background.
It needed to be his presidency, because you can't have the former president. They're all. I mean, everybody's already saying, oh, you know, Barack Obama. Not everybody, but the morons are all saying that Barack Obama is the president behind Joe. So I mean, Barack kind of needs to take the.
Oh, so, I never thought about that, because I was just like, he hasn't said nothing.
He can't be like the president, and then his vice president gets the job, and then he's up there like, hey, it's like they're doing that.
But then last week you have the Republican convention, and so they're doing a convention. They're talking about Joe Biden. He's old. Joe Biden is getting his ass is getting put.
He got reamed. He got tore up. I mean,
oh no, he did.
But all that's for nothing. It's great. The timing is great for Kamala.
Do you think Joe Biden knew he was going to resign last week?
No. I think Joe Biden dug his heels in real hard. But I think after Schiff talked to him, and I think after he got COVID,
Uh-huh.
I think if he hadn't got COVID, we'd still be talking about Biden's candidacy. But I think after he got COVID, I think it was probably even Jill was like, Jesus Christ, Joe, you'll fucking die.
See, I don't know. See, I'm seeing it as I took it like Joe Biden was. I think he made the decision probably like because he had COVID last week, like on Tuesday. I think you're right about the COVID. Once he got COVID, I think he thought, you know what, I'm sick. I'm not doing this anymore. Remember, the Republican convention wasn't over until Thursday. I think they knew on Wednesday that he wasn't going to do it, and because even when you were watching the news last week on Friday and Saturday, even Saturday, you had some Democrats talking about what we still riding with Biden. I think Cedric Richardson, Cedric Richardson was on something saying that he was like, no, we're still. Cedric Richardson is a former congressman who works with Joe Biden.
Okay.
And he's like, nope, Joe Biden is still doing it. He's still in it. And then Sunday rolls around. And then when Sunday rolls around, it was very interesting Sunday for me. And what I did was I was looking for his. Let's see, I'm looking for Joe Biden's. Joe Biden had his speech. He dropped a speech where when he said he was going to he decided he doesn't want to run.
Yeah.
And so Joe Biden decides he doesn't want to. Yeah, he sends out a speech and he says, I'm not going to run. And which to me, Matt, I know you have problems with it, but to me, I was like, okay, Joe Biden is being a big boy. He's on his big.
Sorry, don't get it twisted. There was no complaints from me when he stepped down. I don't care how he wanted to do it. He could have put on a clown. I know that. Do it however you want. And in fact, now that like if people want to say like until we get like, oh shit, did we lose you?
I'm sorry, I scared you. Don't let me scare you.
No, you're not scared. I just thought I lost you. I talked to myself enough. I don't need to do it on recording.
Yeah.
I see what you're. Oh, cool. Look at that. Oh, okay. It's a statement. Okay. Yeah. No, I have no problem with him stepping down. Please do indeed. And do it however he likes. And I'm happy to say he knew and he did it. Oh, fuck it. I don't care as long as he's not there anymore.
Yeah.
Because I think there's
on your screen. On your screen, are you seeing the speech?
I'm seeing Joseph Robinette Jr.
Yeah. Okay. So this is what I wanted to talk about because in my class, I'm a college professor, and so I actually have I read the speech to my students. I thought it was important. I was like, look, the president of the United States, he's like, this is his speech. So I liked his speech. I was like, okay, he talked about his last 3 years. He talked about how America has the strongest economy in the world. And
I didn't watch it. Full disclosure, I couldn't be bothered.
This is speak. He didn't. This.
Oh,
this
just the statement.
Okay. This is a statement he dropped.
Okay. Well, I also didn't read it, so.
Yeah, I did. I thought it was important to read it, and so he discussed. He talked about we made historic investments in rebuilding the nation. They lowered drug costs for seniors, and also for people. Because my mother was diabetic and she took it. So to put insulin at $35 was amazing.
Oh, it's huge for my sister as well. Yeah.
Well, and you also, look, I think domestically he's done a great job.
Yeah, and I would say,
sure. I think Israel. I'm with you on the issue of Israel, but I see when I'm looking at his presidency, because I know a lot of people who are they were talking about Kamala Harris has to work to get the Arab Americans back. And I was thinking, they better get back, or are they going to be Donald Trump going to do what he did to them the last time?
I think that's a foregone conclusion, actually. I think every that entire demographic, I think, understands that Kamala Harris can be pulled to is not going to be as staunchly pro-genocide as Joe Biden.
Well, no, and she was the one in the administration, they said, she was the one in the room and I read this in multiple sources because I was going to start having problems with Kamala Harris even when this was going, when it first started, and they were saying she was the one in the room saying this can't go on too much longer, this has to stop. And
because it's fucking genocide.
well exactly, but Biden, but we have to understand, everybody needs to remember Kamala Harris was on the outside, like she had to fight to be heard in the room with all those Biden people. Because remember, those Biden people didn't have really respected her. Remember, there was an article that said when Biden would walk in the room, they would all stand up for Biden. When she walked in the room, nobody. And she was like, no, if you walk in the room for him, if he walks in the room and you stand up, you should do the same for the vice president. And she's right. It's like,
I agree.
Disrespect the vice president, and then disrespect the first female one at that. The first female one who's African American and Indian descent. Come on, why would you guys do that? Anyway, so this is Joe Biden's his little I don't want to say little, but it is a little his speech, and he just
maybe he would call it
because in the speech he just talks about I want to thank Vice President Kamala Harris for being an extraordinary partner in all this work.
I like that he called her a partner in the work. That's good.
Well, because that's what vice presidents are, right? Vice presidents are always.
I just like that he used the language. I think you as a political science professor understand that, but I think the perception of me most of my life was that the vice president is the standby, like the one that's there in case fucking shit falls apart.
Yeah, no, and you're right, and you are right about that.
Yeah, but they're more important than that. I think that's a perception. Is what I mean.
No, and you're right, and I agree with you. So now what I want to do is share 30 minutes later. I know you're out there like, dang, this guy's doing all this stuff. But I wanted to share.
This is great.
Yeah. No, I think it's important. I think it's important when we talk about this that we talk about all of it. So 30 minutes later, Joe Biden releases this because you remember his letter when he says he's not running, he's dropping out. He talks about Kamala Harris being his party. Then he says, "My fellow Americans, I've decided not to accept the nomination. To focus all my energies on my duties as president for the remainder of my term. My very first decision as the party nominee in 2020 was to pick Kamala Harris as my vice president. And it's been the best decision I've made. Today, I want to offer my full support and endorsement to Kamala to be the nominee of our party this year. Democrats, it's time to come together and beat Trump. Let's do this." And I share this because I think it's important we understand what was going on. Like I said, AOC, Bernie Sanders, and Jasmine Crockett were singing. What they were saying was the Adam Schiffs. What they were saying was those people were not only trying to push Biden out, they were trying to make sure Kamala Harris would not be the nominee because the media.
I did not know that.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to tell you. That's why I'm trying to tell you. There's so much. I'm laying this out for you.
It's nice. This is well laid out. This is a smorgasbord of information.
So. In fact, AOC was like, there are people, I'm not going to name them. I remember her, and I wish I would have pulled that up, but I didn't pull it up today. She said, there are people in the party, I'm not naming names, but not only are they trying to get rid of Joe Biden, but they're also trying to stab Kamala Harris in the back. And I was like, dang. The only thing I was upset with her about was I was like, she should name names. Call them out. Just call, because you know what? This is politics. If they get mad, they'll get over it. They'll need you later for a vote.
I completely agree. I don't agree with not naming names. If you tell me that somebody said something shitty and I don't know who that person is, I don't know where to direct my ire for that comment. Now I just know that shitty things were said. Well, that's great. I assumed that.
Yeah. No, and she was probably the one that was most angry. Like she was frustrated. I was like, oh wow, AOC's pissed. And I've never seen her be pissed like that. And so what ends up happening? So Joe Biden releasing that X tweet or whatever we call those things. I don't have an X.
The rebranding is going. Jojo Siwa and Twitter's rebranding is going identical.
Okay, well it sucks. Anyway, so when he released that, people don't understand what the weight Joe Biden has as a sitting president. Even though he's sick, even though he's looking bad, he has a lot of weight. Well, what ends up happening is, after he does it, I would say probably about, I think I said that day when we were talking on the phone, I was like, I think about 5 minutes later, the Clintons, it wasn't 5 minutes later. It was probably about a little less than an hour later, the Clintons dropped theirs, and not just Bill Clinton, but Hillary Clinton. Both. I was telling my students, I said, you don't understand the weight of having a sitting president and a former president, and then the former first lady / senator / secretary of state come out. And the reason why the Clintons did it was because the Clintons said Bill Clinton understood that going to the convention and contesting on the convention floor, which people have to understand, that's how they historically done conventions. Back in the old days when there was no TV and we couldn't see it. They would go to the convention, people would duke it out, they fight, argue.
Quite literally.
Yeah.
In some cases.
Oh, you're right. And then, but the Democrats couldn't come out looking dysfunctional because the Republicans,
because we've had enough of that. I think.
Well, last week the Republicans looked unified, so it looks
They
bad.
looked great.
Yeah, they did. They looked like a great cult.
They looked. I mean, objectively, not. They're obviously they stand for nonsense, but if you were just to look at them as an organization, kicking ass, boys.
Yeah, they were. They really were. Yeah. So then when so once that happened, this is when you start seeing a domino effect. All these people started endorsing Kamala Harris. But the media has played this idea that Kamala Harris wasn't popular. And I would always tell people, no, she's very popular, because I knew this, because the Biden administration would always send her to colleges and universities because young people like her for some reason. And I was like, oh, but so when they were saying that, I was like, and that's what the Nancy Pelosi's and the Adam Schiffs were worried about, that Kamala Harris didn't have the popularity because the media.
That just shows how again, another example of how just magnificently out of touch that whole cohort is.
But no, I don't think so. I think what it shows us is the media plays a major part in tearing people down. And
this is a loop. Adam Schiff feeds the media. The media echoes what Adam Schiff says. Adam Schiff says Kamala was never popular, counter to reality. Yeah. And the media echoes that.
But and the media does it themselves. They just come up with stuff and they make shit up, and we know that.
Sure they do. Of course.
This is how we ended up in Iraq, because the Bush administration would lie. They would carry the lie, and then we end up in the country for 10 years, in Afghanistan for 20 years, and it's all a shit show. But anyway, so you see this domino effect. Kamala Harris, she's on the phone. So Kamala Harris, and I know this because I was on a phone call. Black men voters for Black men voters for Harris, or whatever that was. And
I know they did a Black women voters. Well, I've heard that everywhere. I didn't know there was another one.
Roland Martin the next day did Black men.
Oh, okay. Because I didn't get a call for either one.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, because I sit on a board. So because I sit on a board of an organization in California, it's a statewide. It's a pretty major board. I know that's why I got the email. I went, man. The women the night before had 45,000 people. They raised about almost $2 million on their 3-hour meeting. We raised as men, and remember, the media kept saying Kamala Harris is not popular with Black men. We raised 1.3 million in 2 hours, because our meeting only went 2 hours.
That's just an old racist trope of Black men don't like Black women.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's just like, come on, guys. That's
exactly. So I was in that meeting, and I was like, wait a minute. And I was listening to these people talk. I was like, wait a minute, because I was falling for it. I was like, but I knew I always like.
Do I not like Kamala Harris?
Well, and I never disliked her because I had a personal.
That's what I was like. That's what.
Yeah. But I thought a lot of Black men didn't. But that's what they perpetuate, right?
You keep hearing a lie.
Yeah, no. And then she starts getting all these delegates who are lining up behind her. And there were some people in the Democratic Party who wanted to go to the convention and have a fight. There was rumors Barack Obama wanted that. Now I understand from what I read this morning that
wanted what?
That he wanted a fight on the convention floor. He wanted the convention to decide.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah, but what ends up happening is Kamala Harris got enough delegates because Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden did not want to go to the convention fighting. Because the Republicans had a great convention. So now here we are. We're here with Kamala Harris closing the gap between Donald Trump and her.
$250 million richer on the war chest.
Oh, I know, man. She
raised
in the first 2 hours, 27 million.
Tell me she's not popular.
That's what got me.
That's what got me too. Because I was like, she's popular. She's also the VP, so it's a logical choice for just any institutionalist.
Yeah.
But when she raised $250 million, I was like, whoa.
So what do you say to those? Because there's some people out there saying, and they're saying, well, we feel like we were taken for a ride. I'm like, what do you mean?
Is anybody actually saying that?
Yeah,
because that's what they're saying.
Well, I had a student say it in class.
Okay.
Well, we felt like we were taken for a ride. Well, first of all,
as in the Biden voter.
Well, no, and that's the funny thing. He wasn't a Democrat. he said he was independent. I think he was.
That's it. Okay, so you're a right winger. You just
yeah. And so and I told him, I said, you're probably a MAGA. I said, but let me explain this to you. First of all, political parties are not public entities. They're not owned by the government. Yeah. Political parties are private entities, just like Apple and McDonald's. They're private entities.
Just like those other private entities, they don't give a fuck what you think.
Well, it's not even so much that. If you're not a member,
you're not a member. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't get a vote, fool. This doesn't do. So he says, well, Vivek Ramaswamy said that he thought, I said, Eric, stop. I didn't let him finish. I said, Vivek Ramaswamy is not a Democrat, so his opinion doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter at all.
But
it's also probably uninformed and misinformed.
I ended up saying to him, I said, Vivek Ramaswamy should worry about the Republican convention that had less than 10% of people of color at their convention. Maybe worry about diversity in the Republican Party before he even comes and talk about what Democrats are not doing right.
I think Vivek thinks that if you say enough white shit, that they'll let you in and welcome you as one. And
Did you say enough white shit?
Just a white shit. If I just, white shit. If he gets up there and he goes like, everything he says.
I thought you were saying right shit, but you said white shit.
Well, those two go right and white.
Well, I'm glad you said it and not me.
I meant right as in right wing, not right as in
that's what I thought you were going.
No. He says a bunch of white shit, like just things that are embarrassing for white people, even to say. Racist white people should be embarrassed by how racist they are. Yeah. He'll say it or absorb it, and he thinks that's kind of some funny.
What's so funny about him is if he was in New York trying to catch a cab, the cab would probably drive right by it because that's how dark he is. It's like, bro, shut up.
Exactly.
Him and I would probably the cab would probably drive by us and come pick you up.
When will right wingers of color learn that if they get their way, they're gonna get fucked up? They're not gonna get anything. If they're lucky, they'll get nothing.
Well, and I think when you have money, because Vivek Ramaswamy is wealthy, when you have money, wealthy people just get up and leave. When JD Vance said that people without kids don't have an investment in America, I was thinking, no, rich people really don't have the investment, because if this democracy falls apart and Donald Trump becomes a dictator, they'll just pack up and go.
Yeah, that's the exact same argument against cash bail, because it's like, oh, this rich guy has a vested interest in staying. No, the rich guy can buy a plane ticket. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, the rich guy can own a plane. And
the rich guy has
get the jet
assets
going,
and shit.
So
like, what the fuck? The poor guy's got to wait for court, because where the fuck?
We're gonna go to Dubai. We're gonna go to Dubai. Because poor people all can go to Dubai. But
I'm glad you brought up JD Vance though, because talking about Kamala Harris's, even amongst people that knew she was popular, I would say unexpected popularity. JD Vance, even I knew he was unpopular, but I'm also surprised at how unpopular he is. It's fantastic.
Well, his little comment was not funny. Like when he did his first solo, and he talked about the diet Mountain Dew. And if I drink Diet Mountain Dew, liberals are gonna say I'm racist, and nobody laughed. It's like, dude,
I didn't know, because I don't. Even if I was on his side about things, I still didn't see a punchline. Like I don't even know. Like just on the comedy of it, I'm like, he was like, people are gonna say I'm racist, and I just had a Diet Mountain Dew. I feel like there's a third portion to that, huh?
Yeah, you said it better than me.
Oh, okay. Well, you're welcome, I guess. And I'm sorry.
Yeah. Said a couple things better than me, like
white shit.
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah, he's incredibly unpopular. Amongst people who have read his book and watched his movie. I have not read his book. I did watch half the movie, and I was like, I didn't know what it was. I knew that Hillbilly Elegy existed, but it wasn't in my brain. We put it on Netflix because Natalie was like, this, the people are talking about this fucking movie. Let's watch it. And we got halfway through it. I was like, this is like a Clint Eastwood spec script. Like it was just like, everybody but rich white people are shitty.
Oh, okay. See,
have you not seen it? It's hard to watch,
man. Because it's just a turnoff when I see things like Hillbilly or something. It's like,
it is like the book apparently, and the movie for sure, is just a he just takes a dump on first his family and then everybody surrounding it. And like, even when he brought his mom to the fucking RNC, I tripped out because you've been like, all I've known about JD Smith, that was my first section.
He's had a lot of names though, just so you know.
Yeah, that's true. But JD Vance, I knew a JD Smith. JD Vance's mother, all I know about her is what he's told me, and it's awful. And then he's like, and here she is. Like, I was like, holy shit, bro.
Oh.
Like, this awful whore of a bitch drug addict who I cannot stand is here in support of me tonight. It feels very strange.
Yeah, he might have paid her. You know, he's like, here, mom, I'll give you some money if you come support me tonight. You know, I don't know. I mean, I watched the Republican convention in
Jesus Christ, he might have actually
in parts. Well, because I had to go and talk about it with my students. Because I couldn't sit there, dude. As a person of color, the things that were coming out of their mouths. I mean, it was like, how do people? I'm glad because they said less than 2% of the people there were black. I was thinking, how would any black person sit through all that and feel comfortable? I mean, any person of color, the things they were saying, it was like, oh my God, like just the
who was it? Amber Rose, right? I mean, I know she's like a feckless celebrity, but
yeah, and she's not black, so we don't care.
What is she? BIPOC? I don't know. Fuck me.
No. Her mother is Cape Verdean, which is in Africa, but they because they have, I guess, lighter skin. I don't know how that works.
Oh,
and her father is white, but she has said in interviews, and I've seen it myself, where she says, I don't view myself as a black woman.
Well, that's ridiculous, bitch. The police do.
Well,
that's all that matters, man. If you want to know if you're a person of color, walk by a cop and see how they react.
Well, she's backtracked since. And
but she would have
to. I realized about Amber Rose is she knows her. I'll give her this. She knows her audience, so she will say whatever she has to say.
And who is that person?
Whoever the audience is at the time. Yeah, exactly. That's the point. Whatever her audience is at that time, she knows her audience.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, she read the room well. She went out there as a black woman with short hair and tattoos on her face and got a bunch of fucking white Republicans to clap. I couldn't do it.
The thing is, now this week, Kamala Harris is running. A black woman's running. Yeah. And
what are you going to do now?
Now she's looking real stupid.
The timing is so beautiful because it just took all the wind out of the sails of the RNC, which was windy.
Well, but this is my thing. They were not, look, so this is why I told my class. I said, first of all, if I was working for Donald Trump's campaign, first thing, because they always talk about how old Joe Biden is, he's going to die next week.
What are you going to say? They
were not prepared for old Joe Biden.
Not even close.
To die, to step down.
That's why they're mad he stepped down. That's why they're challenging it, or at least
let's talk about that.
They will. Yeah.
They were talking about, we're going to sue because Kamala Harris has access to all that money. Her name is on it. It's Biden Harris.
Yeah.
She has a right to the money. Like,
it's such a stupid argument.
Everything they do is not very wise. I mean, it's
white mediocrity. We've been getting away with mediocrity for a long time, so we don't have really good plays in the playbook.
I'm just going to say it's the right wing mediocrity because that's they don't think things through. Like,
we could pretend like the right wing isn't mediocre because it's staffed with white people, but that's why these are the wealthiest, whitest folk who have skated by. They got into Yale because of a legacy, and now
which is affirmative action. Which is a form of affirmative action.
Fucking A.
Yeah, one day we should really talk about legacy. Go ahead.
Oh, but yeah, I hate it. But yeah, what I mean is just like I'm not just being like self-effacing and like, oh look, I'm white and I'm saying bad things about white people.
No, this is you all the time. Believe me, I know. I hang out with
as a white mediocre man. I know what we're capable of, and it's not much. So I don't know why someone would have that much power. And so what I mean by that is like they don't have good plays because they've never had to have them. The same reason why cops are not good at hiding their crimes. They never had to. So they're not practiced.
Yeah. Well, and that's my thing, dude. Well, and they're not prepared. So what do? They go to the things like she's a cat lady, which apparently has gotten the Swifties all, because I guess Taylor Swift is a cat lady.
Look, I don't know if you guys know this, but people like cats.
Well, what's so funny is, but no, it's Taylor Swift though. It's
Oh,
like,
I
oh
know.
my god,
And when you add, yeah, it's just it compounds
it took
because
on the. But I started laughing. I was like, oh my god, they're taking on the Swifties.
I'm married to
And
a Swiftie, and we don't even
oh,
have a
okay,
cat.
yeah, it's so funny. I'm like, these people like they somehow connected this to Taylor Swift. And so I thought that was funny, but they attacked her based on DEI, which anytime
That's
a
what
person,
Joe Biden was. Joe
well,
Biden was a DEI hire.
no,
To
well,
have a
no, let's
white
not,
face behind the black man.
but come on, man, let's really talk about
No. Yeah,
diversity,
seriously, sorry.
equity, and inclusion. When we talk about when you talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion, when we're talking about these things, why would you be against diversity, equity, and inclusion? It makes no
Why would you
sense
be
to me.
against any one of them, or either of them, or all three of them in combination? They're all
Yeah.
objectively good things.
How how do they? And since you're a white man, since you brought up the whole race part of it,
I am
I'm going to
white,
ask you.
to remind the
Yeah,
audience I am a white
since you're the
man.
white man, how are they able to turn something that's good into bad? Like oh, woke is being bad. Is bad. Like
This
making
is
people aware is bad.
Yes, I have a theory of why this is able to be done. They have been turning bad things into good for quite a while. I don't
Okay.
think it was a difficult switch. So, for
Okay.
instance, remember, these are the same people that will say diversity and equity and inclusion is bad, are the exact same folks saying that, well, in slavery, they got a job and an education and a bed to sleep in, and they wouldn't have, their ancestors wouldn't have the opportunities they have now. They'd be in Africa. These are the same people. So anybody who can easily turn something so objectively bad as slavery into a good should have no problem turning something so objectively good like diversity, equity, inclusion into a bad.
Yeah. Well, that's really good, dude. I didn't think. Wow. But that to me is
I've
like
been
mental,
white for 41 years, man.
dude. But it's like mental gymnastics. Like to me,
Yeah.
that's a mental gymnastics,
Well,
man.
so exactly. They used to do front flips. Now they're doing back flips.
That's crazy. It just
Keep it
makes them.
simple. That's the best thing I learned from the military. Keep it simple. The reasons
Okay.
people do things is the simplest reason. It's always like
Yeah.
money or like
Yeah.
faith. It all boils down to that.
Yeah.
There are,
Okay.
it's not oversimplified. You can't just go, it's money. All right, I'm out of here. But
Yeah.
it
You
does.
said. You said. Yeah. But it's funny to me that they were ill prepared to take on Kamala Harris. So we got to talk about diversity, equity, inclusion, or as I like to call it, definitely earned it, because that's why I definitely earned mine.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh, I definitely earned mine.
I
Look,
like that.
I was always told from the time I was a child, you're gonna have to work twice as hard to get half as far. So I don't. First of all, I don't care what people think. I don't let a white person tell. And I'm being serious, because usually that type of talk comes from white people. People of color, we don't talk like this. We don't sit there and look. We don't go around telling somebody that, because I guess because we're our place in this nation in history, we don't talk like that. So I won't let any person, white, black, or anything, tell me who I am, and if I am where I'm at based on some
If
DEI.
anything's American,
Yes,
it's
it
to
is because of
self-define. Yeah.
yeah, well, it is because of DEI. Definitely earned it,
I
and
love that, dude. That's awesome.
yeah, yeah. No, I mean seriously, like not, and I'm not trying to be mean. When you earlier said, "Oh, I have a bachelor's degree, and you're working on your doctorate," yeah, but if in the real world, if we were both going to get a job, they're more likely going to hire you. If it's not a job in like education, when you have to have a certain
Well,
education.
if you were to put your name as Kenyon Callahan, then yeah, I'd
Yeah,
probably have the leg up. But if you make it Ken, I think you can
yeah.
pass.
Well,
No
no,
pictures on the thing.
and don't put a picture in. But once I get to the interview, they're like, oh, because if they talk to me on the phone, if they even talk to me on the phone, they'll be like, oh, they won't know. It's when I get to the interview, because I've had people tell me that. I had one tell me, and this was a black lady when I went into a job. She said, I'm gonna keep it 100 with you, brother. I said, okay. She said, I thought you were a white man. I said, oh. I said, sorry, no, I'm not. She said, I thought when I talked to you on the phone, you were a white guy. I said, yeah, sorry. I said, no, I just know how to speak proper English. I said, because I've only been here for like 35
years.
Take
it easy, Bill Cosby. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, it's like I've only been here for, at the time when she said, I was like, I've only been here for like 35, 36 years. So yeah. You said, take it easy, Bill Cosby.
You know,
why we got to bring the cause into it?
It just reminded me of when what did he scolded Wanda Sykes was hosting that show, and she went up to him and was, you know, just kind of giving deference to a legend. She was like, you remember back in the day? And he's like, yeah, we used to talk properly. It was like, what the fuck, dude? Calm down. That's Wanda Sykes. Be nice to her. She's awesome.
Well, no, but he's done that to everybody. Eddie Murphy,
he's awesome.
I mean, everybody had a story about Bill Cosby and how he.
Eddie, the one thing you can still watch from Ron Delirious without cringing hard is when he talks about Bill Cosby. That shit is hilarious. Richard Pryor's reaction.
Yeah, no, but yeah.
Sorry, I took us.
Yeah, we totally went off, but that's okay. But that's what we do, dude. This is the function of our little chat podcast.
A very good friend of mine calls it the conversational cyclotron.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's like it just works, and everybody's.
It does. No, like, because dude, the reason why we were doing this, because we would just be talking about politics. It's like
right over the fence there.
Yeah, we should right over our fence. So why not put it on YouTube and let people come on YouTube and talk shit to us?
If we love this, everybody will.
No, well, I think we will get a lot of people talking about why do you have to bring up race? Because people don't like talking about race in America, boy.
No, they don't.
Yeah,
but we are of races.
No, and when I'm with you, and I'm gonna be honest with you, when I'm talking to you, I do tend to talk more about race. It does come up with you a lot.
Because it infects everything in the society we live in. I'd love it if it didn't, but it does, and it's hard not to. I think it would be easier not to bring up race if we had a less racialized society. And that sounds like a kind of a
no. And again, when you talk about it, like it doesn't make me uncomfortable. Nothing like that. I'm just saying, when I'm with you, I tend to talk about race more with you than anybody else I know.
That's true for me too.
Yeah, no, and it's good because, like,
there's ways to talk about race. Like sorry, I'm cutting you off. But it's like how do we it's not there. Like when you say talking about race, I think most people's brains go to like, how come your guys' race does this, and ours does that. No, that's not. How is it affecting you? We talk about systemic
issues and how it affects groups of people.
That's what I want to know, is because like where our cultures don't meet is where your culture is affected in ways that I don't see, like police violence before the cameras. Like like I said, I would have said, if you don't start anything with the police, they won't do anything, because I never saw it because I'm white and they didn't do anything.
Yeah, no, and you're right. No, and I totally agree. It's been a very interesting week with politics, and I'm excited for Kamala Harris.
Super excited, baby.
I was surprised because you were happy Joe Biden, and I'm sorry, dude. I'm pissed off how they treated Joe Biden. It's like y'all treated Joe wrong.
I support you in your anger.
You sound like my therapist. I was gonna say that sounds like it's such a white guy thing to say. I support you in your anger. No, my best friend, he would say that. That's how he would say it too. Yeah. I support you in your anger, because he's a white guy. Yeah. It's like I'm
just not gonna join you, because I'm not.
Yeah,
angry, man.
And that's good. No, and you don't have to join me.
Yeah.
But see, again,
I understand it. I know where you're coming from. It's just,
to me, it's like a disloyalty thing. But at the same time, as a political scientist, I'm like, this is politics, though. You really can't be mad for how politics works.
I'm not loyal to a politician. I can be partial to one. I can name my dog after one. But loyalty is day to day, policy to policy, and it's what have you done for me lately? Because that infrastructure bill was too long ago, man.
Yeah.
Sorry,
buddy. But you
did it. Hey!
But no, dude, they're still doing things on infrastructure out there on the streets now. So when you're out there, remember, thank Joe Biden.
I know. I'm just saying, infrastructure is such a hard one to run on, because nobody sees the results till you're either out or lame duck. Because you're like, I just did an infrastructure bill, and then some asshole the next day is like, I hit a pothole. What the fuck? And it's just like, okay.
Well, exactly. They hit a pothole in their street and forget that they have a responsibility to call City Hall to let them know so they can fill the pothole. But I have those discussions with my students too.
What's the first thing you do with?
Well, I know, man. So I really feel like we talked about what we need to talk about today.
That was a hot hour. That's good stuff.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no. Normally
This
we
is a
go
better
about
medium
an hour
too.
and a half. But the only thing I really wanted to touch on was Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. I didn't want to go. I didn't want to do too many different things.
No, too many sprinkles. It's confusing.
Well, dude, man, it's like it was a lot. And so
There's a
I think,
lot. It's a big week.
yeah. Oh, I'm telling. It was funny because I was teaching a class over the summer, and my students were like, um, because when the first day of class when I did the introduction, and it's a summer class, so we do like 2, 3, 4 hours. It's easy to do that, and I say politics is changing every week. So and it was a 1 day a week, and we'll see. So next week it'll be something else. And this class was like 6 weeks long. They're like, Professor, how do you deal with this? They're like, it's such a roller coaster ride, and I was like, yeah, it is.
That's the fun of it.
Yeah, I said it's
like
politics.
People that don't take an interest in the subject, I'm not like, why don't you? I don't give a fuck. I understand that. I don't take an interest in so many things.
Yeah.
But if people don't understand what the interest is, it's fucking dynamic, and motherfuckers are doing crazy shit. Like,
yeah, no, it really, really is.
People that like Game of Thrones and don't watch like just American politics, I'm like, what the fuck, dude? They're doing that.
Yeah, no, I mean, no, seriously, dude. That's what it had. That's what the Democrats were acting like the past few weeks. It was like that's exactly a good analogy.
Game of Thrones.
That was the frustration. It's like these people are turning up in Game of Thrones, and they got the new series out. I forget what they called that series.
The dragon.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, I'm not like you don't need to watch it. You just watch the Democrats.
Yeah, just people eat each other. It's crazy.
They are turning on each other, and it's getting bad. But I will say this, and I know I brought up Obama, and I kind of said he was quiet. From the reports I was reading this morning, him and Kamala Harris have been in talks. He's holding off his endorsement, but he is going to endorse her. But I also want to tell people Beyonce did. Oh, Dolores Huerta, who marched with Cesar Chavez.
Dolores Huerta, I will always remember because that is the name Natalie and I always forget when she comes up on Jeopardy. It is a name I know and constantly forget.
How do you guys forget? Oh my God, I love.
We just forget the name because it's like a brain fart. But I'm like,
she is such an inspiration. I mean,
Natalie's a Latino woman. She cannot.
I know, yeah, right.
By identity politics, she can't do this.
Yeah, but she's also a Latino woman up in Ventura. No offense.
And she's half white, so it's
Yeah, but
he doesn't speak Spanish,
and she's still in Ventura. I'm sorry.
She's
still in Ventura. I mean, I'm sorry. No offense. These beach towns. I will say this. Let me say this. I will say this. As the Black people in Ventura are a different breed. I will say that.
How so?
They're not from, Black people, when we see each other, we always give each other looking like, hey, what's up? Ventura Black people are a different breed. I just don't.
Maybe just not used to seeing each other.
Yeah, I don't know. One day I was talking about it on the phone. We were talking. I was walking, and we were walking, and they saw a Black family, and they did. I said, hey, and they walked right by. I didn't say nothing. I was like, oh, I said, oh my God, they didn't speak. It's like,
who are they? I'm going over there right now.
I'm not used to this.
Yeah.
But she had lived up in Ventura County too, and she said, yeah, it's a different.
It's a California thing too, because when I was in Georgia, Georgia especially, everybody, didn't matter who it was, young, old, doesn't matter, melanin content. Everybody said hello. Yeah, it was insane. It was
no, it's not in California. I'm telling you, in LA, I lived in LA. People were when I moved to LA.
People are definitely more friendly in LA. I'll agree with that.
Which I'm surprised.
It's fucking nuts. Yeah.
Which I'm surprised because we hear all these things about LA. Oh, they're snobs. No, people in
big
LA,
city living. People are used to being around other people. They're pleasant.
People in LA are really cool. They're really chill. We say, hey, how you doing? People in
the weather's nice. Everybody's pretty.
Yeah, well, the suburbs are not. the suburb folks. They're very.
But that's a suburb. Fuck a suburb. The suburbs are a misanthropic entity. They exist to be away from everywhere else, and they want to be away with everyone else, with all the people that also want to be away.
No, that's true. But anyway, man, I guess our time is up. We can. it's been an interesting weekend. We will do this again next week.
We will.
Same bat time, same bat station.
Channel. That's right. What's your sign off today?
Yeah. Oh, well, no, it doesn't matter because our other episodes nobody will ever see. So now I can
Start
just do
fresh.
the old Barbara Walters. I can do the old Barbara Walters one, or no, do the old Walter Cronkite one.
That's right.
He said, and that's the way it is. So
I love it, bro.
That's the way it is. So anyway, man, I'm have a great day, and we'll see you.
We'll see you on the next one. Absolutely. Yes.